In the script, it just says flick sticks tongue to pole. That's all it says. There's just a direction. And I asked Bob Clark, our director, I said, what do you want me to do here? And he's like, whatever comes natural. He's like, you work with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. You can come up with anything. You just do it, and if I hate it, I'll tell you. And I said, okay. So all that stuff you see, stuck, don't leave me, come back. I ad-libbed all that and just came up with it.
Please welcome the kids from The Christmas Story. Peter Billingsley, Scott Schwartz, Artie Rubb, Zach Ward, Ian Petrella, and Yada Yada. Come on, give it up. Nice to see you. Welcome aboard. Always welcome. Hey, everyone. Super. You guys have microphones on your chairs. Just flick them on.
Turn them on. There we go.
Yeah, yours is a flip up.
Check.
All good.
All right.
Well.
Great turnout.
Check. Yeah, all right.
Hey guys, this is awesome.
Give it up again. Come on.
Everybody.
This is so wonderful to have you guys here.
This is great. My feet don't even hit the floor.
Mine do for once.
Like the 8-year-old back in school.
Hey, how are you? Got a couple questions for you guys. Then we're going to open stuff up to the audience.
Very cool.
First off,
Divorced.
Yeah. So first off, I'd like to ask you about the latest film, Christmas Story Christmas. How did that come about? What was the timing on that? How did that finally happen?
This man right here.
39 years in the making was that one. We figured it was kind of now or never, I think. I had been developing it for about 5 years, and it was just...
Let me pat you down.
It was really important to... Perfect. Can you guys hear me? We wanted to have the whole cast back, and we really wanted to get the story right. We wanted it to be a movie that fit with the original, that was its own story, and wasn't just kind of a series of callbacks to the first one. And I know a lot of sequels have not been great for a lot of the fans for a lot of movies over the years. And so we just really wanted to work hard to get it right, or we just weren't going to do it.
It turned out amazing. It was such a fun watch.
Thank you.
It really was.
Well, these guys were great.
We appreciate that.
These guys were awesome.
So I got to ask a question for all of you. Do you guys have any input on how your characters grew up in the film?
Boy, is that a loaded question.
Well, fire away
They
then.
definitely did.
So Pete called me when they said, okay, you got the movie, and Pete says, okay, don't cut your hair. We don't know what we're going to do yet, don't cut your hair. And I said, okay, 1973, bar owner, Indiana, fat mustache, sideburns, Elvis Aloha. Go over to Bulgaria. I went in the makeup room. He didn't see me yet. They did a little coloring of the gray, old whatever. And he walks in. He goes, dude, they did a great job. Look at this. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, dude, you get the burns. No, this is mine. Like, dude, no, this is mine, dude. I grew this stuff out. So he definitely let us work on our own stuff. And we kind of knew the background of the characters, so it worked out great. But I always say this, and he knows I say this, but I always say this in the crowd. Anybody who loves the new movie, you can thank all of us, but this is the driving force that got this done. And he
made it happen.
Made it happen. He's the one you
He made
thank.
it happen. For sure.
And let's just go down the line. The rest of you, what did you bring into your characters?
I mean, the characters were there, from the original, obviously. And we just kind of, took on these guys older and how they would be in, 35 years. And Peter and the writer and creator really created the lives as they were, as you saw them. And, we did our thing to bring back what we did in the original, but also, make it new and as the characters had grown up. So
And I love it.
all about them.
He and I got together a couple days before we left for Bulgaria.
Yeah, we did.
Just
That
to
was fun.
sit and start talking, and you get that
Just to
camaraderie.
get to, because it had been a while.
So it's great with Scott's arc. That is such a wonderful arc.
Oh, thank you.
How much of that could you put into that, or how much
Oh, it was
fun did you
great.
have doing that?
They really let us work with it. I mean, to be honest with you guys, we've all known each other for 40 years now, and we're all kind of like our characters. I'm really kind of a jackass. So
That's for sure.
the person who changed the most was Ian, who plays Randy. And as you saw, he grew up to own like a coffee plantation in a small country. He looks like a traveling, sexy salesman. And that's
The winner.
now
I
his
told him he's the
grown-up
winner.
personality.
For sure.
He was the winner of the characters because he
Yeah,
travels the world and he does.
Yeah, the big hat. He left Cleveland.
His life really took
So,
off. That's right.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. But they let us put in. I think for everybody who saw the film, the thing I'm proudest about, like you said, Peter, it was terrifying because if we screwed it up and it was one of those horrible sequels that make you roll your eyes.
Especially with all of us in it.
Yeah,
you know?
you guys would have murdered us. Like I never would have heard the end of it that I ruined your childhood.
Right.
And so they really did an amazing job.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be, just stellar.
It just has so much heart,
It
right?
stands
I
up
mean,
right next
yeah.
to the original, and that is a huge
That's
feat.
great to hear.
Did every just show of hands just for as we say S and giggles? Did you like I Triple Dog Dare You in the new one?
All right.
It's a classic. So, what was the audition process like? We'll go down the line. Do you remember much of the audition
For the first one?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there was much of audition.
I had,
Surprised.
I think I was 12 when I did it. And back then, we'd all go up for a lot of the same parts for a lot of the classic movies. Some we got, some we didn't. And I remember I got an audition and I went in for it. It was called A Christmas Story. And I went and read for Bob Clark. Bob later told me that I happened to be the first kid that he saw for the role, just the way the timing worked on the sheet. And he later told me, he said, I walked in and he's thinking, man, this is the guy. This has got to be the guy. He's like, but I'm not hiring the first kid that I see. So he went out for 3 months, auditioned tons of people, but I guess I just fit the criteria of what he was looking for. Then we all went up to Canada, and then we did a screen test, which is never fun, where we each get to be Flick, Schwartz, Randy, and we kind of mix and match roles, and they do chemistry reads. And then they narrowed it down to our group, and it was pretty cool because Bob, remember, turned to me and said, "You've got the role if you'd like it." And I was like, "Yes."
Although Scott thinks he wasn't there, but he was there.
Yes. Scott was there.
You were there, buddy.
For your auditions?
Up at the screen
in
test
the screen
in
test
Canada.
He thinks he wasn't there.
This is
I actually
like a
read Flick, and then they
ongoing
flipped
battle
it.
that we have.
Yeah, it's been
You
on.
want me to do mine? You want me to do mine last?
Go.
Go ahead.
I had the easiest audition in the history of Hollywood for A Christmas Story. I had just finished another film called Kidco on Friday. Thank you. Came home on Sunday. Wednesday, or that Friday, the toy had opened up in the theaters. So I had a double whammy. Finish a film and a film opens in the theaters. Wednesday, I go in to see Bob Clark. He had seen the toy. Calls me in. How you doing? We talked for a few minutes. He's like, listen, I missed lunch. You want to go have a hot dog? We were in Manhattan. We were in New York. I said, sure. We went out. We had a hot dog. We talked for a few minutes. I come back. He says, thanks for coming. Oh, you want me to read something? He says, I saw the toy last weekend. I know you can do anything. Don't worry about it. Okay, thanks for coming. I walked 7 blocks to my agent's office. She asked me what happened. I told her. She goes, he called already. You got the job. So I got the job basically over a hot dog.
Yeah, it wasn't so easy for me. I was actually doing a show on Broadway at the time, and I was actually not sure if the show had run, I wouldn't have been able to do the movie. But there's notices in theater, and all of a sudden the notice went up, and which means you're closing. And while it was sad because I didn't know that I had the movie yet, I was able to do the movie because the show actually closed. But I had 13 auditions for this movie. I went in the first time for the casting directors, and then I think I even went in again for them. And then I went in like almost weekly for a while. I kept going in and mixing and matching with other kids. And at the time, the entire time, I was reading the role of Flick. And even when I got to Canada for the screen test, which was like a couple months later, I was still reading for Flick, and then he flipped it at the last minute. So I think probably what happened was he knew he wanted you, he just didn't know for sure which role. So anyway, and then we all mix and match together at the end of that session, and the rest is history.
But he also did Les Mis on Broadway.
That was
which
later,
I
but
saw
yes.
him. So we actually did do a real show also.
Well, Oliver was real.
I was from Toronto, Canada. That's where I grew up, and then they were shooting there, so they had to cast some of the audition roles there. I did what we call a cattle call, meaning hundreds of kids go in, and my lines were originally Grover Dill's lines, so I was like, "Get over here, nah, you're Aunt Tilly," and that was it. And then next, and so I did that like 5 or 6 times. Got down from 300 kids down to 10, and then I got the job, and I showed up on set. Actually, I met Yano when we were in the wardrobe room. We were trying on the outfits. We clicked right away, and we actually got to pick out kind of our own clothing. They put out the stuff, and I liked the hat, and he liked his hat. And then this isn't the original hat because it wouldn't fit my big ass head now. So, and then we went to set, and that's when Bob met me in person for the first time and saw that I was a foot taller than Yano. Now he's a foot wider than I am. And so he said, okay, you get his lines, he gets yours. And so we were like, cool. All right. And that was how we did our thing. And now magic. So.
For me, it was just a routine audition. They just call you up and say they're casting a new holiday film and you're going to be auditioning for the part of the little brother. Go get him Tiger. That's basically all you got. You show up. Randy really didn't have many lines, so there wasn't much to say. It was just based on personality and a couple callbacks. And then I met the director, and they sent me up to Boston to go do a screen test. And once again, no lines. It was just...
Really? You went to Boston for a
Yeah.
screen test? I've never heard this. This is what's so fun about when we all get together. We learn
Yeah.
so
We all
much
have our own
more.
stories.
Like what?
Boston?
Somewhere in there is
Yeah,
the truth.
Boston.
Was a worldwide casting.
I know. So
And then in Iran, we were
Exactly.
casting the Bumpus Hounds directly out of Turkey. And it was amazing.
So your meal scene, how piggies eat, was that something that was part of the audition?
that was part of the screen test. And
Does that just look let's throw this in?
And at this point in time, I didn't really know much about the part, so it was just we're gonna try this, and then stick you under the sink and cry for a bit, and it was like, you got it. So that was it.
So you weren't with us in at the Toronto test.
No.
But you were.
No.
Yes, he was. I met you that day. I was scared of you that day.
He smokes
Yes,
a lot.
if you were scared
like,
of me,
who's
then
this
yes, it was definitely me.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
I'm still scared.
Thank you guys for coming out, spending the time with us. We really, truly appreciate it. We love all you guys. Thank you. Without you guys, we know us. So thank you. Same kind of story as Zach. Went on a cattle call, 300 kids in a wide gymnasium, and I'm like, Mom, what am I doing here? I'm never going to get this job. So got a call back. A couple days later, got another call back. I met with Bob, ran the lines, pulled my mom aside and said if he wants the job, he's got to cut his hair. I said, nope.
Oh, yeah, you had long hair.
oh wow.
Sorry, Mom, I'm not cutting my hair. It's been growing for 10 years and I'm not doing it. She said, yes, you are. It'll grow back. This is a game changer for you. So, of course, got to listen to Mom. And here I am today. So, yes, I read Scott Farkus's lines. And when we got to set, and Bob was like, oh, yeah, let's just switch lines. We looked at each other like, what? I just memorized all of those lines. Now I got to memorize all of these. Yay, let's go, brother. So he was true. When we met each other, we immediately clicked. And ever since then, like our moms got along with each other. We seen each other through the years. And for all of us, it's a special moment to be able to get back together and spend the time with you guys. Mm-hmm. Because your experiences of the movie is what drives us to be who we are. So thank you again.
Sure. We're going to get yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know if it was Bob Clark or the casting director or who did it, but of course Bob tells me I get the movie. Remember, I read no lines at my audition. So they give me the script. Now I had done the lead in Film The Toy with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. I had done this other film, Kidco. I'm the lead. Okay, fine. Now I get Christmas Story. Who am I? I'm Ralphie, right? So I spent the next 3.5 weeks memorizing the entire script. So I'm memorizing Ralphie. And we get to the read-through in Toronto, And okay, you know, RD, you're playing Schwartz, and Zach, you're playing Farkas, and Scotty, you're playing Flick, and Peter, you're playing. I'm going, excuse me? Who the hell is that? So then I go back, and I was scheduled for 5 weeks.
Revisionist history.
And I had 16 lines in the script, and I'm there 5 weeks. You got to be shitting me. Excuse my French, but oh my God. So I wrote on a Post-it note, 5 weeks, 16 lines, vacation. And I handed it to my father sitting behind me. I walked over to Bob. I'm like, Bob, are you sure? Oh, no. You're Flick, dude. There's no question. But I goes, I know that. Oh, no. You're going to kill it. Okay, fine. And it is what it ends up being. It was certainly not a vacation, let me tell you.
But can you imagine anyone else in that role but him now?
No way.
Right?
Not at all.
Perfect.
Ryan
Bob knew.
Fit.
Oh, iconic.
Bob knew.
So we're going to get to audience questions in just a bit. I got a question, just a real quick one. Any fond memories of working with Melinda Dillon and Darren McGavin?
Ian, do you have any memories? I mean, you did such a great scene with her.
Yeah, I mean, I probably one of the most fondest memories is the fact that I got to work with the mom from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So I just kept bugging her, like, how'd they make the alien? What did the alien look like? You know, she told me the alien's name. They used to call it Mookie. I was like, oh my God. What? Yeah. So that was, you know, and for me, the first time I think when we met them was in the Higbees when they came to pick us up after we got thrown out of Santa's Mountain. And that scene, running up to her and giving her a big hug, that was our first scene working with her. And it was I just went to go hug her because it's like, you're the mom from Close Encounters. You know, so, but nah, she was a sweetheart. So
yeah, she was the best. And she, you know, I think if you look at her career, she really did what she wanted to do and didn't do stuff that she didn't want to do. And she kind of retired early. And I know Paul Thomas Anderson got her to do a film late. And then when it came to the sequel, she we all kept in touch with her. And I talked to her about it, and she was kind of intrigued, but she said, I really am just done. And so she was just finished. But she was, you know, to have an on-screen mom and dad like that when you're on location for a long time, we all had a lot of family with us, but they kind of become parents as well. And we couldn't have asked for two better ones.
All right, let's get some questions from the audience. Raise your hand. And actually, I'll work the audience too. Kyle, you can get this side. I'll get the other side. And once again, thank you guys. This is quite a great gift for us.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And thank all of you.
You can stand up, young lady. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it.
My question's actually for you two. Was there any confusion on set being actually named Schwartz and playing Schwartz?
There's, oh man. People come, all right, Schwartz, and I go, yeah, they go, no, the other Schwartz.
Yeah. We actually had more confusion, I would say, on the newer movie. Because they would always say, Schwartz walking, and we didn't know if it was like him or me or like... It wasn't their first language. Yeah, exactly.
Is everybody here a fairly good sense of humor?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Blazing Saddles? Okay. So we're in Bulgaria, and the first day on the set, the lady comes over and grabs me, and then goes and grabs him, and we're walking to the set. And her vernacular is different. So she goes, okay, I'm walking to the set with Flick and Schwartz walking to the set. And I went, excuse me? Flick and Schwartz. And I could not wait to get back to the room to call my mother and say, Ma, we're in a Blazing Saddles movie now. We're doing Mel Brooks and Flick and Schwartz. It was the funniest thing in the world. So, but yes, between me and him, it's Schwartz. Now, how many of you come to our signing room where we signed today? Did you see the sign out front? Yes, it says R.D. Robish Schwartz, and it's spelled S-C-H-W-A-R-T-Z. But somehow, it says Scott Swatz, S-W-A-R-T-Z. I'm like, now wait a minute. How can you spell the name right but spell the real name wrong? So I've told Bob, the promoter, already how I felt about that. But it was wonderful.
All right, let's go over to this side of the room. I have a question right here.
Hi, guys. Thanks for coming. Every line, delivery, moment in the movie is just perfect. Was any of it improvised, or was it all just scripted?
Oh, that's me. No, that was me, because in the script, it just says flick sticks tongue to pole. That's all it says. There's just a direction. And I asked Bob Clark, our director, I said, what do you want me to do here? And he's like, whatever comes natural. He's like, you work with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. You can come up with anything. You just do it, and if I hate it, I'll tell you. And I said, okay. So all that stuff you see, stuck, don't leave me, come back. I ad-libbed all that and just came up with it. And we did it a few times, and then Bob's like, all right, give me more. Go bigger. And I was like, went bigger, and he goes, no, the way you did it, you do it your way. Okay. And it stuck, it's stuck in the movie, I guess you could say.
I remember the whole bell rang thing was like, that was all improv. I remember that bit being.
I remember
the bell rang.
When the weird kid walks up to me in Higbee's.
Oh, yeah.
I love Santa.
Bob was great about not telling you what he was going to do and rolling the camera. So I'm standing there thinking this is the moment they're going to cut to when I'm waiting in line. And this dude rolls up and he starts getting real close to me. And he starts telling me what he likes. And he's like, I like the Tin Man. I'm like, uh-huh. And it was very genuine. And when I said, don't bother me, I couldn't think of why. I'm like, I'm thinking. And I looked at Bob like, who is this? Like, did he sneak on the set? And Bob was just like, oh, we got it. Cut. Perfect. He loved it. Great. And the other big one he did, he didn't tell Melinda when the duck came out that it was a full duck with its head on. Oh. So when it lands and you see her reaction, it's completely genuine. And then I don't think he told Darren that he was going to chop the head off. So and we're just laughing hysterically at it. So he was really great at kind of setting up that stuff.
Okay, we got, let's do 3 or 4. You got a question too, Tim? We have 3 questions. Let's knock them out on this side of the room. We have 3 here. Then we'll go back over to you.
This side's winning.
I was curious. What is your guys' favorite Christmas movies?
A Christmas Story.
Kiss Ass.
And then Elf. And then Love Actually.
And
hi, guys. How you doing? My question is, do you have a favorite scene that didn't go right, like a blooper that you just continue to film?
Your scene with your mom. When you did the eating like a piggy, didn't your mom have to come in?
Yeah, they brought my mom in to try to get me to laugh.
And what did she do to get you to laugh?
Did it work?
Fish heads? Fish,
yeah. Oh, yeah, she sang the Fish Head song.
Wow. He wasn't getting the reaction perfect that he wanted in his close-up.
Well, he wanted that natural laugh.
Right, and then your mom's like, oh, I can make him laugh.
Right, so she would come in and just do whatever, like, she sang, I think, the Fish Head song.
Fish heads.
And she'd tell fart jokes.
And then he starts rolling. Yeah. So I remember because my reaction was like the old man's, which was, what is going on over here?
Bob would even
just kept rolling and rolling. I remember he must have shot like 3 hours on that.
Yeah, it took a long time. And Bob would even try tickling me under the table. And they would just... Yeah.
That's
Did
not...
you say Bob went under the table?
Yeah.
This does not sound right, man. Not
Come on, let's keep it PG.
Come on,
when we were beating him up in the alleyway, and then I grabbed RD and I was wrenching his arm, and he was like, "Uncle," and you could, it wasn't there, and Bob was like, make him get there.
So do you goose it up? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then so when you hear him go, "Uncle," that's me hurting him. And you can see it in his face because he's got that like, which
it was very real.
Yeah,
doing the movie.
Oh no, yeah. There was like I was the biggest kid there, and I won.
Bob kept us away.
Yeah,
myself, Peter, and RD.
He kept the 3 of us together and the 2 of them together.
And the 2 bullies because they didn't want us to be friends with.
Schwartz wasn't the only victim here. Well, we had the arm scene too in the back alley. And that was real, too. Mind you.
Oh,
and
he
it was
hit you
freezing
hard.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Zach was nice.
He didn't have to hit me hard, but after the 16th take, my arm was like blue.
Okay.
And that hurt.
What would Brando do? You know what I'm saying?
Take it like a man.
Right?
Man.
There was also one, everyone was like, oh, you did a great job crying when they threw the snowball. I was like, yeah, because they threw a snowball into my face. It was like, it hurt, and I started crying. I was like, yes, thank you for the compliment.
One more question from this side of the room, then bounce over there.
So it has some pretty iconic lines in the first film. Dean's have a favorite line that's pretty quotable for me. I like the Fragile one.
That's my personal favorite, actually.
Yeah. Love Fragile. You know I love Fragile.
Not a finger. It was, yeah. I think the dad had all the belts.
The dad owns the best line.
Yeah,
He really
yeah,
does.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's rock to the other side of the room and get some questions.
So that kind of was my question, but another question I have was, so obviously like the Christmas Story house is an actual house in Cleveland. When was the last time you guys were there, or like your best memory, like revisiting it after like filming?
I was never been.
Never been.
I was there last year. I raised money for Alzheimer's. My dad's got it, so if any of y'all have family with Alzheimer's, well, thank you. Let's support Alzheimer's Association. If you have any family with Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's Association is great. Reach out to them. They can give you a lot of services. Yeah, I was there last year. They're awesome. I remember when Scotty was there, and I was there. I don't know if I think Ian might have been, but when the house first opened, do you remember that?
05, 06.
It was a long time ago, and it was crazy because you go like, the house is opening. That's cool, whatever. And we're inside, and I walked outside for a second, and literally there were 10,000 people lined up down the street, and I was like, eep! Like, it was terrifying, dude. It was awesome, though, just that response. So.
You couldn't see the street.
No, there was no sidewalk. It was
there
just
was no
packed.
sidewalk.
All
no,
heads.
You looked to the left, it was all heads.
Oh, it was crazy.
Dead straight across the street was all heads. To the right was all I mean, it was,
Well,
you know.
Felt like a beetle.
I'm glad they have a new owner.
Yeah. All right, another question. Let's go over to this side of the room.
So,
sir, if you're not going to do it like Randy, you can't wear that costume. He was a friend of mine, so you get this right.
Yes,
oh yeah.
Woo! Now listen here. Little man up on that stage. I am coming in to bring it. But
Nice.
All right, what's his question? Nice. Well done, sir.
my question is for the leg lamp scene. Did they keep it authentic and actually keep it a surprise, or did any of you know what was coming in that package?
It's a good question.
I kind of remember it being somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I remember him saying, like, really go for it when you touch the leg. And I'm like,
Right.
well, that's kind of weird. He's like, just make it like it's kind of like you're really fired up about it.
And he's 9.
I'm like, yeah, the character's 9. I was 12 at the time. So, I mean, again, yeah, but I do remember thinking, it was something like, gosh, is this going to work? This is a very strange object, but it was obviously really cool.
I just remember I got sick. That's when I got food poisoning. Oddly, right after the piggy scene. And then we had to show up on the set. So I was sick that day. So I don't think I even really cared what was in the box.
That's why you just looked scared of it.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
Do you guys remember anything? Was there a big movie premiere for it when it came out? And do you guys remember anything about it?
I wasn't invited.
No,
I wasn't there if there was.
They were more regional, I think, back then. I remember doing when you'd have to go region by region, and you do the round tables with the press.
They actually have a video of the premiere. It's on YouTube.
In Cleveland,
you're there.
right?
Yeah, you're there.
I think
with
there was
Bob.
one in Cleveland, yeah.
really?
I'm not in it because I wasn't
Were
invited.
you there? I wasn't.
No, it's cool.
We just had
I don't
a
think
couple
any of us were
screenings
there.
at MGM. I remember.
Peter got the only invitation to any of that. I saw it with my folks opening weekend and my
that's how I saw
grandmother
it.
and friends in
Just in the
central
theater.
New Jersey. We just went to the theater.
Yeah.
So I was curious of your reactions when you did first see the movie on the screen in a full audience. Were you surprised with just how incredibly over the top everybody enjoyed the film?
No, they
It wasn't
did.
a massive
They did.
success.
It wasn't
You
a
know,
massive
I mean,
success.
That's
but-
strange.
Yeah, I mean, I remember
But I remember
liking
the
it,
audience
thinking that
really
was
liking
cool.
it.
But back then, the movie did okay. Wasn't a world beater, wasn't a bomb.
Oh,
It
okay.
did fine.
Yeah.
But then that was it. There was no video, no cable. It certainly wasn't streaming.
Right.
So it was like, all right, well, that's it. And then just slowly.
Home video.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was
people
no
were-
conversation about it. It wasn't like
No.
people were talking about it. My experience, you guys have heard this, so I'll do it fast. I went to go see the movie with this girl I had a crush on in grade 8. I'm from Canada, so we call it grade 8, not 8th grade. Her name was Mimi Fotley. She was French Canadian. She had that hot French Canadian girl accent. You guys, all the guys know what I'm talking about. We went to go see the movie, and the whole time I was like so nervous. I wanted to hold her hand or like put my arm, but I was scared and I was nervous. We walked outside, and she had the short haircut because this was the 80s. So there was like 99 to Nerf balloons, very cool. And so I'm standing there, and I'm like, so, hey, what'd you think? You liked the movie? You think it was cool? And she goes, no, I don't like this so much, and leaves. And leaves.
I've never heard
and
this.
gets on the subway, like, no, I don't like this so much, bye-bye, and gone. And I'm left standing there like, oh, okay, I was in a movie, and okay, whatever. Like, that was my level of stardom. Nope. And I think that was an out. Yeah. Yeah, it broke my heart. Yeah, it was great. No, it's okay.
Well, what do you think about this film makes it so multi-generation? People, kids watching it, still watching it, 24-hour marathon, seeing it on television. What elements of this movie you think made it the classic that it is?
I don't know. The biggest probably, and you guys, I'm sure, hear from the fans as well, but the biggest thing I think I most consistently hear is, that's my family.
Yeah.
There's a relatability in the family. And it felt like, I don't know, for the first time, it was like a real family. That dad is one wrong comment away from snapping, but the mom's there to kind of keep the peace. But it's kind of messy. The brothers are at each other's throats, but at its core, there's a lot of love. And so you feel like, okay, that's real. They're not trying to make it saccharine or dark for dark's sake. And, it just leads up to what I think is all of our Christmases. You want it to be great. You got to be around people sometimes you don't want to be around. You got to grin and bear it. But then Christmas morning comes and there's kind of a little magic in the air. And so, it just retains those feelings. And at least I always hear that it felt for the first time like a family that was theirs.
Yeah. Or just, everybody has or had a Red Ryder in their life at one point in time that they've been wanting to get.
Yeah, I mean, it comes out in '83, and you've got adults in their 40s, 50s, 60s who grew up during that time frame when life was much simpler and much kinder and much nicer. And they sort of gravitated to the film, and then, of course, they show it to their kids, and it's mom and dad showing you this wonderful, nice, loving movie, and it's very heartfelt and okay. And then you go to the next generation down. So now it's like we've got folks here that it's the third generation, and their kids are 8, 10, 12, 14 years old, and it's but they're being exposed to the film by their parents, their grandparents, and they find a comfortability in a wonderful household. And lots of love.
And I think the 24 hours, once it became the marathon, made such a huge difference because not only were you playing it at Christmas, you were playing it, right, all day. So it was like, we became your family, So we were always there, and it just became everyone's tradition. And we keep hearing that all the time as we do these cons and these shows. That it got passed down from generation to generation in that respect, and hopefully it keeps going.
But that's your job to keep going.
Yeah, keep it going.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to say to everybody, if you've never really took the time to listen from the very first word that Gene Shepard spoke, you kind of get stuck the whole way because he speaks to everybody in the first sentence. It's just amazing. Because typically it's on in your living room. You just hear it in the background, or for those of us who love to actually sit and watch it, then it really does resonate all the way through. And the transitions from scenes to the kids, to the classroom, to all of these crazy experiences, it resonates. Well, at least it resonates for me on almost every aspect of how I was raised too.
All right, let's get one or two more questions. Let's do this one and then you.
Hi. You kind of semi-stole my question, but I remember the year it came out at the 24-hour marathon.
96.
96, 97. I was working nights in the ICU. And I remember being so excited, and we turned it on in every TV in all 18 bedrooms. And I remember thinking, oh, God, wouldn't it be great if that happened again next year? And, like, did you guys think it would stay 24 Hours of a Christmas Story forever? Or did you think, oh, shoot.
I was apologizing to people. I was like, I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, he didn't even know.
It's like, geez, that was weird, huh, guys? That was weird, right?
I had a friend call me up and say that his stepdaughter won't stop watching the movie. And I said, well, just take the video cassette out of the VCR. He's like, no, it's on cable. It won't. Like, when did they start doing this?
It won't end.
No, I mean, they had done the marathon twice before. It's a Wonderful Life did okay the first year, and the second year didn't do as good, and that was the end of that. Then they did Wizard of Oz, and it did okay the first year, and the second year it just tanked, and they went, well, that's the end of that. So earlier that year, I think 96, Ted Turner was buying the MGM film library for TBS and TNT. Needed 2 movies. His secretary was a big fan, and he had never seen it. So she brought on her VHS tape to the office, and Ted Turner and Jane Fonda watched it and went, oh, this is lovely. So they bought it, and then his secretary of 25 years, what do we do? Well, throw it on a marathon. We only paid $250,000 for this movie. We'll at least get our money back. All right. They did it, did okay. Well, we'll try it again. And the ratings went up. And they went, all right, wait a minute. Okay. And then the third year, the ratings went up. And by years 5 and 6, they were at 35 and 40 and 50 million households across the country. Now it's a cash cow. Now they just make 20 million
How many
a year.
years going is it? It's been since 96?
26.
Wow.
26, 27.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, and it's again, as Yano said,
that's you guys.
We thank you guys because me and him are the 2 Jews. We don't watch. Come on. You go to something. Come on. You know, but somebody watch something else, whatever. But you guys just keep on keeping on.
And one final question. By the way, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
This is just
pleasure. Yeah.
It's a Comic-Con dream come true. Got our final question, and it's going to be the best question of the day.
Well, I hope so. My name's Charlie. Growing up in New York City, 60s and the 70s, Gene was an absolute fixture to us, and the Gene Shepard radio show was amazing, and his source material was so great. Any memories you'd like to share about Gene Shepard, because he was brilliant?
You go first.
Okay, I can share one. Yeah, Gene was great. We got to meet him. They had worked, Bob Clark and Gene Shepard worked together for close to 12 years to get the movie made. Nobody wanted to make it. Bob had to put his salary into the movie, agree to do other movies. So by the time they got there, they were really well prepared and passionate. And I remember a couple times I'd be doing a scene, Bob would go to the bathroom, and then Gene would run up to me, and he's like, you need to do it a little more like this. You need to say it like this. Bob would come out, see it, and scream, get away from my actor, and then run up to me and say, what did he say to you? I was like, I don't know. He said more like this. They did it because they cared. There was just a great passion with him, and Gene was around. Bob read the narration for me off camera. And then Gene obviously did it afterwards. But it was just a couple guys that really cared, had tried a very long time, and it was a great lesson of just being a part of a process. They didn't expect the film to be great. There was no hype on the set. It was, I always call it a take your lunch pail to work movie, because they were grinding. They were just grateful to have the chance to get it made.
There was one instance at Higbee's, because other than that, I didn't see Gene Shepard at all. Yeah, we had to read through.
He was at the school.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he was. I remember him around the school.
All right. I remember the Higbee's, and they were having a little bit of a break, something, and somebody asked Gene to describe a Bic pen. This man was the master of the English language. I stood there and listened to him describe this Big Pen for 15 minutes. I think, how the hell can he come up with it? But he was just a master of the English language, you know. And even being in New York, I did hear him a few times on the radio. It wasn't WWR because that was TV. I don't remember which station he was on, but you know, he was a extremely intelligent man. And of course, I'll just throw the little tidbit in, if any of you know, but the original publishing of anything Christmas Story is in the December 1965 Playboy. It is in that issue. That I have
look
a couple
at
of
it for the articles if you'd like. Nothing else.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming out and doing this.
Thank you all for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Have a very Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry
Give it up.
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you want.